And then we've gone this long, Shane. We're not even touched on Jimbo Fisher. First 3-game losing streak of his Texas A&M career. His coach effect is -7 since the start of 2021 season. That is the worst in Power 5 football. He is 2-6 in his last 8 against FBS competition. He's lost 4 in a row to unranked teams. Texas A&M has failed to score 25 points in 9 consecutive games against FBS competition. And, I mean, people think I'm piling on at this point, but, I mean, this is horrible. And I know there's injuries. Hell, everybody's injured, Shane. And like I said, you got 2 weeks to prepare, and you're saying, well, we're down this lineman, we're down that lineman, we're down a quarterback. Well, this is year 5. Everybody on the roster is your guy. And we see it across the SEC, Shane. I mean, LSU's had 6 different offensive lines. They're tied for first in the SEC West. This is not an excuse. This is bad coaching, and they're stuck with him with this $85 million contract. And unless he hires an offensive coordinator, this is what Texas A&M is going to be for the rest of his contract, don't you think?
That's exactly what it is. And I think there's too much money involved to get him out, or he'd already be gone. Mike, what other scenario do you see a team starting, top 6 in the country at the beginning of the season, and now that they've got more losses than wins going into November? There's no reason that Jimbo should be employed, but they made the guarantee. $80 million is a lot of money, Mike. So what you can do is you can get in his office and say, listen, okay, we can't fire you, but you need to do something, or we're going to find monies and find ways to get you out of here. And the only answer, Mike, is getting an offensive coordinator. It's come to that old school I formation. I mean, you're down and you're running a damn I formation. It's like the veer, you know what I'm saying? This isn't high school anymore, man. Nobody's playing this style of offense. It's holding these kids back. It's holding everything back. I think about, and I'm not trying to tweak Tennessee in here, but I'm going to say it for a second. I'm watching this barn burner the other day with Tennessee Vols, and I'm thinking to myself, if Pruitt were still here, if Dooley were here, this would be a ball game right now because they cannot run offense, But we've developed and we've moved on, and now we're putting all these points on the board. Texas A&M has a ton of talent on that side of the ball. You put in an OC down there that just has free reign to spread this offense. I'm telling you, these guys would blow records out. I mean, it would be phenomenal. But until they finally get Jimbo convinced that he can't run this offense anymore or coach this team, it's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say?
He should be fired. He should absolutely be fired. Has the Aggies, have you noticed some Aggies unblocking you? Because I know you pissed off a lot of people in the offseason talking about Jimbo being a terrible coach. Right. But surely they're like, that Mike, he may be onto something, Maybe you shouldn't have come.
Not a damn one has reached out, Shay, but it is what so the media people are starting to turn on him, I've noticed. And again, this is nothing personal. A&M's got college football playoff talent. Yeah. They have got to put this together. I don't know, they get mad you start talking about the NIL. I don't know any specifics on any of those deals, but you got to wonder if this top class they signed, Shane, how many of them may be leaving if this keeps up. And down the stretch, Shane, I mean, they got UMass. That's a winnable game, but the rest they could all potentially lose. This is what I wanted to ask you, Shane. Haynes King, man, he's I think he's gutting it out. So let's give him credit for he's not quitting or anything, but he's getting hurt here, throwing the ball. No one's touching him. Now he was getting hit quite a bit, and this is several games in a row. I realize this offensive line is not where it needs to be. Hell, Max Johnson got destroyed. He's hurt. Haynes King has gotten hurt a couple of times. Would you throw out Connor Weigman, the true freshman, who he had to finish the game for the Aggies, and he didn't look spectacular, but he didn't look terrible either. With a season that's essentially lost now, would you throw out the freshman and try to build something for next year? Or are you concerned that maybe he's not quite ready for it and we could maybe even get him injured. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on this is, at this point in the season, Jimbo needs to become a salesman, and not to his team. He needs to become a salesman to the fans, the media outlets, to let them know that better days are ahead. Maybe not this year, but next year. When we get this recruiting class, when we get a little bit older, when we're not so banged up, this is our new quarterback. You know, we had to do it at this point. He needs to convince the country that they are young, but there's better days ahead. And you do that by starting a new quarterback, potentially a freshman quarterback. You know, you do that by trying new things on offense, maybe even let some of the somebody else on the staff call a few plays. So I think that's what you got to do. You got to, because if you keep doing the same thing, that's the definition of insanity, expecting different results. He's got to think outside the box, because now his job is to convince not just the leadership there, but the fans that he still can do this. He still can be a national championship